Hi everyone, welcome to my video. Today I would like to present the project 8 and it is about the early care. In this case, I chose that country is China, and the reasons that I chose it is because until recently years China has not a long-term control and system in the case of early care, and this is the reason because the three ministers that are responsible of this situation, such as the National Development Healthcare, the National Healthcare, and also the Commission of Right. These three ministers have been analyzing and also studying the best results of the countries with this organized system, such as Netherlands, Canada, and also Russia. What are some examples of how the elderly are being cared? In the case of China, this is a clear example of how the early care could be a complex word and process because most of the population of China are adults, and it is an important issue because the illnesses really affect them in a rude way. For this, the Minister of China and the Minister of Healthcare in this case have taken this problematic situation and do many things that could provide and develop it in the best way. The three that I choose, I consider that are the base of all these projects that have been taken in order to increase the early care and also in order to have a better educational system in the health care. The first one is about education, and here is an important point because China gives an important part of this problematic to the education. And this means that with these professionals and nurseries could improve this program and give us better results. In general, exists a lot of courses and programs for nurses that have the principal point to helping Jane in the worst situation that could happen. Even way, we can also see rather than the informal way to help to these people and designing and increasing the numbers of seniors that require a specific nurturing skills in order to help them and with a good knowledge that can provide and increase a better result. The second one is an option that I consider is a good way that the people can feel more comfortable that an hospital or maybe a clinic or maybe a place where the people feel weird. In this case, we have the nursery homes, and with the nursery homes, most of the elderly care people can feel comfortable with more specified cares. This is a really important because in nursery homes, people can choose the way that they can be cared and also the needs that can be supplied and covered completely. His high quality on overrange in which such facilitate and doing well the capacity wise. It has made to welcomes to many people and international corporations and with the help to the studying and analyzing the progress that has followed in countries like Russia and Netherlands with a high quality of life in this case in with the adult people. Chinese market gives to the population this new option. Of course, this option is expensive than another because it is private and in a difference to the hospital that is cheaper, it could be with a better results and with a better care of adult people. The third one is about a home care service, and this is the most comfortable rather than the others that I already mentioned because nursing service and also medical and health service go to the home, take care, and also give some explanations that the patient need for this long time. China's government has adopted this process in recently years because it increasing the high quality life and also the still life all of the older people. It is follow a 1937 formula that has been making it mean that the 90% of the people of the seniors realize this home care. The 7% of people realize the nursing home care, and the rest of people have the option of a hospital or maybe a public clinic. In this case, developing of this way, many of the adult care adopting a specialized skills. And for instance, it is good to have a better results with a good environment and with a comfortable tools that can use by the nurseries and also for the family. It integrates the families because it's not that all the time the nurses has to be in the place or in the home. It is also the help to the family and how they interact between them. What are some reasons that is important to use an elderly care and how China has developed all these process and projects that before it didn't have. It's because China is experimenting a social and economical transition from planning to a traditional front to the elderly care in order to have a quality life and also a good market because most of the options that China gives to the population are are private and not public. In this case, the economy in all sectors has been really increasing in a good way. Visitors to the doctors and sometimes were free, but now urban employment face to a co-payment few in the way that visit most rural farmers in order to have a service or maybe a home nurseries take care, like I mentioned before, and the home service care. This is a cooperative medical assessment, and the result is a really good health care, and also as a sequence of this, a satisfactory health outcomes. The options that Chinese government improve are really good in the way that not just the health companies have been beneficial with this, it is also to the population, to the market, and also to the employment of people. I think that all the governments need to improve this issue, not just the China's government. It's important to mention that most of the times, government focuses on different aspects, social aspects that maybe don't have a really good employment and increasing the quality life of this country. In this case, it's important that all the people have an access to the health and also to be control the diets, the exercise, and also the mental health accompanied with medical treatments because all the people have rights and needs to be supplied and covered completely. Now I would like you to present the project 9, and it is the unit about mysteries, and in this case I would like you to present and we are going to analyze and studying the Anasazi mystery. Anasazi is a culture that it names come from to the ancestral people, and the name Anasazi has come from the Navajo language, and its word itself divided in two and means the following. Anasazi comes from Ana, that means enemy, and Sasi, that means ancestral. In this case, it has different meanings according to the cultures that it was applied, but in this case the term was first applied by the first Anglo-American anthropologist that analyzed and studied all these mysterious cultures. It was applying and he studied all these cultures around 1888 and 1889. In these years, he noticed that all these cultures have some mysterious ways to communicate according to the language, and of course, the most amazing buildings. Well, it's important that we know who were when it was located and what was his purpose. It's important the Anasazi was the ancestral pueblos were an ancient part Native American people that live in the four corners of United States nowadays, and it is comprising to some, it is covered to the southwest of Utah, the northeast of Arizona, and the northwest of New Mexico, and also some parts of nowadays as Colorado. These ancestral pueblos were believed that to have developed the last part in the Onsatra tradition, who was developed as I already said in Navajo culture first. They lived in many ways. The most commonly way that they convive, enjoy, and share between this is a community. All the terms that they used are related with the unit of all the people in the unit of all the columns that they have in share many structures, including a small family, pit houses, large structures with different clans, and host clans with grand agricultural parts, and of course the ancestral pueblos has many complex networks in order to communicate, and also an important part and the most amazing here is how they build these incredible ways, how they take the rock in order to have a great pyramid, and also a large and big constructions. Well, most of the mysteries that around of all these cultures are the way they build all these constructions and the way that they communicate. According to some studies and different theories proposed by some famous archaeologists, they say that the most closer, and according to my opinion, the most closer reason and explanation about how they emerged is taking the Navajo culture as the first culture formed to the base in order to develop different culture like Hopi, Anasazi, and different ones. One of the mysteries that I consider that nowadays contribute with science and education is the way that they communicate, because nowadays it is a really mystery, and how they had different codes in order to explain and communicate specific things. It's really famous, the case of poppy culture, because in social linguistic it is a base, and how they don't have the themes of the future tense in their language. As we can see in this picture, we can see one of the most important infrastructure that this culture has developed. One of the most not clearly examples about the infrastructure is the Chaco Canyon, in which they use only rock in order to do amazing things. According to my point of view, all these parts are an important way to analyze how the past and how the ancestral people give us an important historical meaning to us. Now I would like you to present the project 10, the last project, and it is about extreme sports. Well, the extreme sport that I choose is base jumping, and in general, base jumping is an extreme sport where the people jump from a fixed object using a parachute. It is a really extreme way how the people jumping from objects like mountains, base, streams, or maybe with a long altitude in order to jump and open during this time a parachute. The the word base in base jumping means that it could be safer than another extreme sports, and including jumping, in contrast to these sports such as jump with airplanes and the skydiving. It is really different because with base jumpings are a performance and a base where the people can feel comfortable or maybe can be safer than the others one. As we can say in this picture, has a really clear example of how the people need to know a specific skills and knowledge about how to do this activity, because it's important that all the factors and elements while the people are doing this activity need to be right in a right way. For example, here we have the altitude, the specific time when you need to open the parachute, and of course the weather and physical elements like the pressure and altitude in this case, in order to have a good results and of course be safer. In this case, the equipment that the people need to do this activity and this extreme sport are basically in the clothes and of course the parachute. And the most important here is the parachute, is because it is a biggest difference in while the skydivers jump, as already said, because in this activity, the people just need one parachute in order to do this activity, because with two, it could be really heavy and it could be dangerous in some cases. The extra point that people need to know about this is about the clothing, because most of the time this activity is taken in place in real cold places like mountains, high mountains, and of course they need a grown clothes in order to be hot, and in order to be really active all this time, and the time when they really need to open the parachute in order when they are jumping while this time. The specially cloth that is considered the best for these cases is the weight suit. It is an special cloth that people use in order to be more flexible in this time and to do the activities in a good way. It allows also that the jumpers need to guide in an horizontal distance in order to keep a weight and also keep and maintain the position of all the body. Well, some of the problems and dangerous situations that could be present in this activity, it is not a single reason or factor that could be affect this activity. There are a lot because it could be situations that happens immediately. For example, if you're jumping and your parachute doesn't work in this time, it could be a risk of your life, and of course you couldn't dead immediately. There are a lot of researchings about how to take care of these situations and be carefully when people are doing this activity, and most of experts recommend that people that really want to try these activities need a really time of practice. The technique to do activity is an important factor because people know how to do in a dangerous situations and act immediately in order to solve them. Base jumping significant that the wingsuit that they use during this time is just a knot that could be parachuting from a fixed object, but most of the time people change this clothing or these elements in order to be more easier, in order to be cheaper activity. But it's important that people follow all the instructions, use the equipment correctly, and of course practice the technique of jumping up high mountains for a long time. Well, about my opinion, I believe that all the extreme sports awaits an internal part of our body and soul. And we can feel more alive. We can feel the adrenaline can roll through all our body. And if I have the opportunity to do that, I would do. But obviously, I I take all the precautions, all the elements, and of course, I follow the instruction of a professional sport in this case. But about all the extreme sports that exist, I really choose the base jumping because according to most of the research is safer than the others, and of course there are places where we can practice the technique how jumping and how to act in dangerous situations, and what would you do if the parachute doesn't work and this immediately time, and of course feel our body alive and feel the adrenaline a lot. Thank you for watching my video.